I'm here. I'm just getting cameras on. It got late. I lost track of time. Things happen. I'm coming. I swear. I'm putting on cameras. There was so many people that lived and died today. They just lost track. I mean, look at this. Lots today. Today there was so much. Look at this. This page and a second page. Oh, hold on. Look at this. So many. I found something, a funny thing that I think anyway. That's just me. How's everybody doing today? So I had a 14-hour day. I got up and had to go deal with roofers today, 7 o'clock in the morning, and they didn't leave till after 9 tonight. These guys worked their butts up. At least it wasn't 90 degrees, so I got to do that. Roof looks great. There was a lot of damage to the roof, but they repaired it all, so very happy. I project managed, PM, project managed, better than a BM. It is National Banana Split Day. I didn't have one, but I did have a chocolate mousse, the kind that I got from Costco. But the box isn't there, so I don't know what it's called. But see, look, it comes in this little jar, and this is what the chocolate mousse came in. So that's what I had for my snack, a chocolate mousse. And it's really good. So highly suggest if you go to Costco, look for the little chocolate mousse. It's probably refrigerated because it was, but I assume it has to be. But worth it, wherever it costs. August 25th, episode 86. The summer is winding down. I'm looking forward to a meeting with the city tomorrow for building and zoning, and maybe I can put this building thing behind me, at least moving forward. Because the minute that happens, I'm going to announce the garage sale. So as soon as they say yes, that means I can get into contract, and I'm going to just come down to the building and I'm going to sell things. That's going to happen. So you're hearing it first. You're the ones who know. You're in the know. You're paying attention. You're making it happen. I went to work on the Randsanity's t-shirt today, and I just screwed up PayPal so bad. Jesus. How do you go back? Do I delete the whole account? Do I start over? What do I do? I just screwed it up. Oh, man. This is why I need a team. People know what they're doing. I may be a jack of all trades, but I am definitely a master of none. Anyway, hey, so I can get one of those Kardashian Hilton jobs and just get paid for kind of being. So go check it out. Heinz Verified. I was the co-star / cameo guy driving the van with Stephen He. Heinz Verified in Day Trippin'. TRIPPIN. There's a link somewhere on this page. You can find it. If not, just look for that picture. It's somewhere that looks like that. Or if you really want it, I will send it to you. It's on YouTube. You can't miss it. You're already here. All right, so there's a ton of things. So today is Park Service Founders Day. National Park Service Founders Day. It's not National Park. It's just Park Service. So I assume it's National Parks. So it's National Park Service Founders Day. There's a reason for that, and that's in one of the things that happened today, because this was, hold on, I'm finding it. I'm going to find it. I swear it's because in 1916, the U.S. Department of the Interior founded the National Park Service. There you go. So that's the connection to it. So that's why it is called Park Founders National Service Founders Day of Founders for National Parks. Because today is the day the U.S. Department of the Interior formed the National Park Service. So there it is. There's the connection. And that was a real connection, not the one I'm going to make up shortly. That's really a grasp, but it's a great grasp. It really is. I love it. It's Banana Split Day. Did not have a banana split. Sorry. Didn't happen. I didn't pretend it, but I did have this. Maybe I'll have banana afterwards, and I can that's chocolate and banana. Similar. My stomach won't know any difference, right? It is Secondhand Wardrobe Day. I don't know if I have any secondhand wardrobe on at the moment. Everything I have, I think, is original. Sorry. But I have secondhand wardrobe things somewhere. Now, this is where, okay, this is one of those connections that's stretching it. It's Kiss and Makeup Day. But, you know, I discovered today is the birthday of Chaim Witz. Chaim Witz. It's his birthday today. Do you know who Chaim Witz is? I bet you don't. Chaim Witz is in the band Kiss, and his name is Gene Simmons. So, Kiss and makeup. I mean, come on. That's a connection right there. Whether it's true or not, I don't care. But, man, that sure fits. Doesn't it? Kiss and makeup? Kiss, makeup? Come on. Gene Simmons? Chaim Witz is his real name. I'm just saying. I'm connecting. And it's Whiskey Sour Day. So I didn't find anything with whiskey sour. I mean, there's something sour in here. I'm going to make some sour comments. And I was thinking about whiskey. Just saying. Tomorrow is Web Mistress Day. And it's not like what you're thinking. Web mistress means it's just a woman that takes care of websites. She's the webmaster. She's the web mistress. So it's not an OnlyFans reference. I did have to check. It's got Checked Day. I don't know what that is. I think that might be for breast cancer for women. I'll check. It's Cherry Popsicle Day. I could find one of those. I'll go to Stoney's Market tomorrow. And it is Women's Equality Day. And it's National Dog Day. I mean, right. There it is. So you got all sorts of good stuff. All right. So things that happened on this date throughout history as per usual. See if we can find something that's interesting that you go, wow, I didn't know that. Or really? Or, wow, of course it is. So in 1609, Galileo, Figaro, Magnifico. Sorry. He demonstrates his first telescope. He does that. He gets the whole first telescope thing going. Good old Galileo. 1718. Hundreds of French colonists, hundreds of French colonists arrive in Louisiana and form New Orleans. There's why it's so Cajun, right there. Because in 1718, a bunch of Cajuns moved down there, French, and that's why there's so many French Cajuns down there. There it is, that long ago. 1718. There was a cook, Justin, who was the French Cajun guy, and I loved watching him cook. He was like Julia Childs, but he was, talking like a French Cajun. It was so hard to understand, but he always made all sorts of good recipes. Always good food down in Louisiana. Now, again, connection, weird connection, but in 1835, the Great Moon Hoax occurred, where this guy, I guess John Herschel, published in the New York Sun, of all things, the paper about the moon and the sun, that he saw through a telescope, which is Galileo, all sorts of fantastical creatures and life and landscape. I didn't read more about that. But, okay, so where's the connection with that one? Today, if we go into who died today, one of the people that died today was Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon. So he died on Hoax Day. It's just, these weird connections. I'm not making it up. I make the connections up, but there's that connection for that one, okay? I only put this one down because I just was like, of course it is. 1862, the U.S. Secretary of War in the War Department authorizes blah, 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 blah. I don't really care what it was. I just found that to be amusing since that seems to be a popular subject at the moment. So it goes all the way back to 1862. The U.S. Department of War. Secretary of War. Just saying. 1910, Yellow Cab is founded. We'll move on quickly. Right past that. Yellow Cab is founded. It didn't say where. It just says Yellow Cab is founded in 1910. I'm like, okay, wouldn't it be helpful? Like, was that New York City? Was it San Francisco? Was it England? Like Columbus, Ohio? What the hell? Yellow Cab. All right. So there it is. Then we talked about the National Park Service because of the U.S. Department of the Interior. So in 1932, we talked about this just the other day, Amelia Earhart landed after her transcontinental nonstop woman flight in Newark, New Jersey. So she left from the West Coast, landed on the East Coast. So again, remember, that's not the one where she flew away and never came back. That happens at another date and time. 1952, Puerto Rico becomes a U.S. Commonwealth. Now, I didn't say anything about annexing, so that's a good thing. So it became a Commonwealth. That seems less pilfery is the word I will use, pilfery. Okay. 1958, butchering this name for sure. It's Momofuku Ando. Momofuku Ando markets the first packaged cooked noodle. You know what it is? It's ramen. Chicken ramen, spelled, which I had left, Chikin. Chicken ramen. Like, I don't know, some other fast food chain says eat more chicken, spelled that way. I wonder if they stole that from Momofuku Endo. Momofuku. Sounds like a curse word. Momofuku. Someone's yelling at you. So yes, that's when ramens were invented. Ramen noodles, chicken ramen. 1958, they're probably still around from that year they were made. They last forever. They're just like freeze-dried noodles. I mean, come on, anyone that went to college or, I don't know, turned 18 and learned how to cook, their first thing was ramen. Put it in water and you have noodles, and it's instant food. So Momofuku, thank you. 1963. Notice that we skipped over again from like 1916 right to the 60s practically. The whole 40s are always missing because all it is just bad stuff. Bad stuff happened in the 40s. I occasionally there'll be a little glimmer of something good, but no, it's usually just like, we did this, these people, this happened to them, and I'm just, so if you notice the dates, there's always this big gap. The 40s are missing. So we went to 1963. Paul McCartney is fined 31 pounds and lost his license for 1 year because of speeding. How fast are you going to lose your license for a year? I mean, and it's the 60s. I mean, he had to be traveling at like Mach 4. I mean, right? I mean, and in England, didn't they have like motorways and all sorts of things? I'm just thinking, how are we doing something stupid? And then in 1967, the Beatles studied their transcendental meditation with the Maharishi Mahi yogi. And that was kind of the end of the Beatles at that point. I think that's where John Lennon and Yoko Ono became their thing, and the whole, craziness. Way too much drugs, acid, all that stuff. And that pretty much, I think, was the downfall for the Beatles then. The Maharishi Mahi yogi. You have to put the yogi part in there. 1970, Elton John performs his first U.S. concert. Now remember, Elton John didn't just start out huge, so his first concert was in West Hollywood at the Troubadour. There you go. So that's pretty famous, the Troubadour in L.A. Mr. Elton John. Huh, interesting. I didn't know that was his first place. I did know this, though. 1975, third album released, becomes one of the greatest of all times for this man, Mr. Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run, released on this date, 1975. I think that was the breakout album for him that everyone still looks back at as his sort of magnum opus, the third album by Bruce Springsteen. Growing up in New Jersey, that was sort of the thing. You had to be a Bruce fan. If you weren't, you were kind of chastised and ostracized. And at the time, I was not. I never really fell into that Bruce love. I mean, I knew he was, saw him, but it wasn't like, worship me. I was unfortunately or fortunately more diverse in my songs and background. So The Doors, Molly Hatchet, The Outlaws, Leonard Skinner, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, just very varied. So Springsteen was there, but he was not a god to me. What can I say? Maybe I'm not true Jersey. Damn it. 1977. Now I knew that I knew it had to be a person, but I just didn't know the story. So 1977, Tim Horton, a hockey player from Canada and businessman, was posthumously entered into the Hockey Hall of Fame. So that's where it comes from. Tim Horton, businessman, and guess what? Co-founder of Tim Hortons. So he was a dude that was a hockey player. I didn't know the story. I knew it was Canadian. I knew there was a dude named Tim Horton, but I didn't realize he was a hockey player posthumously inducted into the Hall of Fame, Hockey Hall of Fame. So now you know that's where Tim Horton came from. That's what the Tim Horton dude was. 1979, Heart to Heart premieres with Robert Wagner and Stephanie Powers. Ran for years, Heart to Heart. They were kind of the detective duo doing their thing. And speaking of detective duos, there's a birthday from the guy who, Alan Pinkerton, who was an actual detective and created the Pinkerton Agency. There's a connection for detectives. Paul Simon, Graceland is released on this date, and it is sells 16 million albums, and it becomes the album of the year, winning him a Grammy for "I'm Going to Graceland, Graceland," doodle doodle doo, kind of Zydeco-y sound. Speaking of French Canadian, speaking of New Orleans, kind of Zydeco sound to it. Graceland, released by Paul Simon. And then in 1991, speaking of LA Law and Cheers, as well as Christy Alley, win Emmys for their respective TV shows and roles in said TV shows. Miles Davis's last show was on this date in 1991, inadvertently. I think it's because Miles passes soon. This was in West Hollywood at the Hollywood Bowl. Stereophonics releases Word Gets Around, their debut album in 1997. That's a good album. Stereophonics was a good band. I like them. 2001, I remember this. Aaliyah and 8 others are killed in a plane crash in the Bahamas when they had too much crap loaded into their charter plane. It was overloaded by like 700 pounds, and it didn't quite get off the runway. So that's why they weigh your bags when you get onto planes. You know, commercial airlines are supposed to weigh that to know how much the damn plane weighs, so they can have the whole thrust and lift thing. Apparently, I forget the whole story, but it was definitely that sort of like, I know, we'll be fine. We'll just get those bags on there. It'll be okay. It's not overloaded that much. Well, apparently it was overloaded enough that it did not let the plane get off the ground far enough and fast enough. So that was 20-something years ago, but yeah, Aaliyah. Make sure you give the correct weight of your bags, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to be hitting the ground in those things. That's just not how it works very well. In 2019, Double Dave, a 2-headed timber rattlesnake, was discovered in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. Now, the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, since I know a lot about the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, is where the Jersey Devil, New Jersey Devils, the hockey team, names comes from, because it was rumored to have like the Chupacabra live down in the Pine Barrens. If you are driving down south in South Jersey, before you get to the beach, before you get to the ocean, down off the parkway, you get to this area which becomes the Pine Barrens, where basically it's just this sandy woods that is just pine trees, and it's desolate, sort of piney desert. When we were of the proper age to go down, we would go down and go 4-wheeling down there. So you would drive down to the Pine Barrens with your 4-wheel drive trucks, and everyone would go out late at night, and you'd go, you know, like drive through big puddles of mud and all sorts of things. I have one very particularly fun story I remember from the Pine Barrens. We went down, and one of the guys that drove down, we're down, he broke the axle. He broke his front axle in his truck. And that got us stuck there. We were now stuck in the Pine Barrens. You could not leave because it's far out in the middle of nowhere, and we were not prepared to be stuck in the Pine Barrens. It's again just kind of the wilderness. Imagine sort of like being out in Colorado in the wilderness. I mean, you could walk out somewhere to get to civilization, but stuck there overnight, freezing cold in the morning, waking up, and it's hot and gross, and there's like horse flies and everything else. And some of the people, because other people there, walked out to go see if they could find someone to get us towed or whatever. And a crawler came through, like this giant 16-wheeled crawling machine came through that was working on telephone poles. And I went ahead and talked to these guys, told them what had happened, and they were like, sure. So they hooked, and this is not my truck. This is not my vehicle. So they hooked up the truck and basically dragged it all the way out to the entrance. And so when these guys came walking back. They're like, "We got the truck." They're like, "Wait, what's the truck doing?" And I was like, "Well, these guys." And so I basically just commandeered this person's truck and had it dragged out through the Pine Barrens by this like 16-wheeled crawler. It was sort of this articulated vehicle that was made for going up and down and around. It was really weird looking. I just remember that story because it was just being stuck there. It was miserable. It was so hot. We had no shade. We had no water. It was just, we were ill prepared for the adventure that we went on to have a breakdown. So I've thought about that in future, always thinking like, yeah, make sure you go places, take that thing that you need with you, like, I don't know, a bottle of water, a snack, a signal flare or whatever, if you're going on adventures out in the middle of nowhere. Just note to self. The Pine Barrens of New Jersey. I did not see Double Dave, and I have luckily never encountered a timber rattler when I was down in the Pine Barrens, because that would be something you want to step on. It would be bad. Did see a copperhead, but not a rattler. And then in 2022, California votes to ban all gas-powered cars, new gas-powered cars, by 2035. It's only 10 years away. So I don't know. I mean, that's interesting to think about, no gas-powered cars. It just seems that, is battery technology there enough for us to get from point A to point B in a reasonable space? I mean, in the cities, it's fine, but I don't know if I'd want to be driving across the desert and running out of battery. It would sort of go back to the whole Pine Barrens thing, like, hey, make sure you take your cooler and enough shit with you that if you do get stuck there overnight, you can bring a solar charger to hold out the window and get the battery charged the next day for a few hours. Doesn't sound like it's the best scenario. That's all. That's just me. I'm old school. What can I say? I want my fuel for long distances. In town, who cares? Sounds great. All right. So people that were born today, born on this day, no particular order or sensibility to it. It just starts oldest to newest for the most part. Ivan the Terrible, the first Tsar of Russia. So right there, I mean, does that give the whole Russian thing a bad rep if your Tsar is Ivan the Terrible? I mean, it's not like Ivan the Wonderful, Ivan the Wonderful. What's up? Got y'all. How you doing? And then I said Alan Pinkerton, who made the Pinkerton Detectives. And then I think Pinkerton's still around. They're still like security agencies, right? It's like ADT, Pinkerton. I believe so. Leonard Bernstein, born on this day. He wrote West Side Story. He was a composer. And he was the conductor for, London and New York and Israel and all sorts of places that he was the grand conductor for their orchestras. Monty Hall, let's make a deal. I always laughed at Monty Hall because of the fact that I always had stuff in my pockets and be like, if I ever got called, I'd be like, I've got a Sharpie right here. I've got a bottle cap. Wait, I've got dental floss, because I always had just crap in my pockets. When I wear my sport coat, I would have just endless amounts of crap in each one of the pockets that just didn't seem to make any sense. But I always thought, just in case I went to Monty Hall and I need to make a deal, I've got, a paper clip, a piece of string, and a bottle cap. Now, why would you carry a bottle cap with you? Okay. The reason is that if you go to concerts a lot of times, or you go to shows and venues, they'll give you a bottle of water, but they take the cap off. I had to have a cap in my pocket. So basically, they'd be like, here, we have to open and take the cap. Great. I'd be like, just put the cap right back on it because I brought one. Just think about that. Next time you go to a concert, just bring a bottle cap with you. You can close your water bottle up because they don't want to leave you with the lid a lot of times. Because that way, if you throw it with no lid on it, it empties and it doesn't go very far. If you throw it with a lid on it, it can travel much further because it doesn't empty. I did have to ask that because I was like, well, why? What purpose does that serve? That's why. Okay, they think it travels less. So bring a bottle cap. That whole Pine Barrens thing, okay? Be prepared, like the Boy Scout thing. Good evening, James. Sean Connery, born on this day, 007. The Scottish man himself. Highlander. There can be only one. And, of course, James Bond. Also born on this day, Regis Philbin. Regis and Kathy Lee. Tom Skerritt from Alien. He's 91 today. He was the ship's captain, if you remember from the movie Alien. If you see a picture of me, like, oh, yeah, Tom Skerritt. That's who that guy is. And then Anthony Hurled. You don't know who he is. I didn't either because I was like, wait, why do I know the name though? Silence of the Lambs. He was Dr. Chilton. You know, I'm going to go meet an old friend for lunch with some wine and some fava beans. Dr. Chilton, who was just a crappy guy, that crappy doctor, Dr. Chilton. And again, like I said, Chime Witz, born on this day. Gene Simmons of Kiss. Henry Paul of The Outlaws. Green Grass and High Tides Forever. We talked about that because, again, green grass and high tides forever. Boom, boom, boom. Willie DeVille, who is actually Mink DeVille. Well, Willie DeVille is not even his real name, but Willie DeVille is the band Mink DeVille. Rob Halford of Judas Priest. And I have to say, so I've unfortunately been and seen enough bands that I've seen them when they were younger, and I saw them 20 years later, and sometimes it's disappointing because, I mean, you know, you sing, you lose your voice goes, you do too much, you know, whatever, singing, drinking, drugging, whatever happens, and your voice goes, and you can't hit those high notes anymore. You can't be like, ah! Rob Halford, who I saw Judas Priest play in Asbury Park, speaking of Asbury Park and Bruce Springsteen, back in probably the 80s, maybe the late 70s, I don't even know. But I saw him just recently, a couple of years ago, when he played at Sonic Temple for Rock on the Range or whatever it is. Unbelievable. Absolutely same range. He looked like a old fat Santa Claus, don't get me wrong, but his voice, chef's kiss, still there. Still made it happen. Unfortunately, not Adam Ant. When I saw Adam Ant play, first time was many, many years ago. Loved it. Sounds so great. Saw Adam Ant again. I was like, oh, Adam Ant. I was like, oh. It's just disappointing. You want to go see your favorite artist, but it's just, you know, you can feel that you got ripped off. Oh, this is crap. Or you can have just sort of empathy and some pity. And I feel the latter. You know, I'm still going to go support because I'm a fan of the band, but I just sort of was like, oh, probably should have hung it up there, buddy. You know, you've kind of passed that prime. I heard recently there was a review somewhere about David Lee Roth, that the show that he just put on, people were just mortified at his singing and how bad it sounded. So that's what happens. The way it goes. But anyway, Rob Halford birthday, amazingly great. Also, Elvis Costello. All sorts of great musicians. Elvis Costello, also an amazing talent. You got to love Elvis. Every time I see him, he's always been great. Very gracious. You know, always enjoyed his shows. He's a nice guy, too. He's always been kind and courteous when you've spoken to him. I'm going to do this so you can remind me to look at that while I change the camera, because I counted and saw it this time. I didn't get stuck with my hand not paying attention. So that's what we want to do, is go ahead and watch those, because then you can go ahead and make comment on it, and you can say, hey, we want more Randy, we want more Randsanity. We want more of the guy in the van. That's what we want. Okay? Because that would be great. Because then I can get one of those Kardashian Hilton jobs. You know, I can kind of pay for just kind of existing, which would be amazing. Oh, I didn't hit the lottery the other day. Sorry. Hey, I tried. That dollar, you know, what can I tell you? I screwed up his name, but I think it's Manly Gerard from the Motels. Only the lonely, only the lonely. More birthdays. Like I said, so many birthdays today. Tim Burton, Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice, that guy, Tim Burton. Love his movies. 67 today. Good old Tim Burton. Good thing. Billy Ray Cyrus. Don't care. Vince Campbell of Def Leppard, birthday today. Blair Underwood of L.A. Law, birthday today. And we already talked about L.A. Law because it won a Grammy or an Emmy on this day. So Blair Underwood, his show won an Emmy on his birthday. Nice connection there. Jeff Tweedy of Wilco, his birthday today. Rachel Ray, again, don't care. Just happens to be her birthday. And we had Billy Ray, so I figured we'd have Rachel Ray. We have the Rays. Stuart Murdoch of Belle and Sebastian, birthday today. And then supermodel extraordinaire Claudia Schiffer. Her birthday was today as well. Happy birthday to all of these people, alive or dead, because a lot of them aren't around anymore. But they have birthdays. Like the Tsar of Russia. He's not around. That was like 1600 something. I don't even know when. People we did lose today. Henry Morgan. You know who Henry Morgan is? He was a pirate. Captain Morgan. Henry Morgan. There it is. Speaking of Galileo telescopes, leaving us on this day was William Huthshaw. He discovered Uranus. Michael Faraday, the Faraday, you know, he discovered electromagnetic induction. So that induction coil, the Faraday, you know, that whole Faraday coil, you know it, you've seen it. You know, the whole like, put your hand on it and the hair is like, Faraday coil, that's him. Not, you know, the guy who said damn the torpedoes full speed ahead. That's Farragut. Close, not Faraday, Farragut. And, you know, it's always damn the torpedoes full speed ahead, though. So that's all we've got. We've got to love that. Alfred Kinsey of the Kinsey Report, the famous sexologist in the Report of Sex by Kinsey. Truman Capote left us on this day. Breakfast at Tiffany's. And then also Ted Kennedy. Chappaquiddick Ted Kennedy. The whole, you know, read that with Mary Jo Kopechnik, whatever her name was. Mm-hmm. As I said, Neil Armstrong, first man to walk on the moon, and John McCain. So not a good day for political dudes, as we lost a couple recent ones. Those, I mean, I'm sure there was lots that we lost throughout history. I didn't, you know, it gets into the weeds too much. These things go back to like, you know, 1632. I'm like, yeah, sometimes it's okay, but no one knows who the senator from Illinois was from 1632 or cares. I mean, I don't. And if you care, that's awesome. I'll give you the URL. You can go find these things yourself. That's all I'm saying. That's it. Well, we're looking at the end of August. The first home football game for the Ohio State University is this Saturday, August the 30th, which is crazy to me to think about. It's Ohio State University versus Texas. It's a noon game. So it's going to be just a complete chaotic shit show around here. It always is. So I've got that to look forward to. I think it's also, it's what, the last game day? I think it's the very last game day for Lee. So it's going to be his very last time to put on either the helmet of Ohio State or the helmet of Texas. So we'll have to see what Lee Corso does, because I think I'm almost sure ESPN Game Day is here. So Lee Corso will be here, and it'll be his very last football game that he'll be doing that at ever. So we'll have to see. Obviously, if he puts on the Ohio State helmet, it'll be something that will be historic in nature. If he puts on the Texas Longhorns horns, I'm sure people will be throwing stuff at poor Lee Corso. That's people take serious football a little seriously here. If you're not from Columbus, Ohio, it's just, I guess it's anywhere. It's that whole fan addict thing. Kirk Herbstreit used to live here. He had to move because he couldn't deal with everybody harassing him. I've known a couple parents who have had kids that are in the football program, and they've had to pretty much talk the kids off the ledge sometimes, because these people, these kids are just trying to go to school and, have fun or do whatever. And, these fans are threatening them and telling them how they suck and this and this. It's like, this is an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old. Like, calm down. If you're betting over your head or whatever, dude, that's your bad. It's the and then the whole, professional athlete status and stuff. It's just crazy. I don't completely understand it. But I mean, hey, that's the prerogative of people. If you're that much into the sports, that's okay. I got no hate for it. It's just, I don't get it. It's not me. I just don't do there. I just don't make that happen that way. So yes, I will definitely, I'll take my camera with me. I usually can sneak a GoPro into the stadium, and I'll get some sort of footage. I have crappy seats. I believe my seats got moved. I used to have nice seats. I used to have great seats. And as the tickets got more expensive, I refused to pay more. So my level of tickets have gone from undercover, kind of good, to down in the corner, which are okay. They were fine. Now I think I'm like way up high now. I have a great view because I get to overview the whole stadium, but I'm kind of, I think, in the nosebleeds, which is fine. I don't really care. It is what it is. Just it's nice to be able to go and have a little bit of outtake, a little camaraderie, and go to the football games. Hang out with friends and see people. I don't know anybody that I'll be sitting with, and that's okay. But yes, but not having my lower seats, I'm a little disappointed, but such is life, right? That's the way you have to do. Got to go with it. I'm just looking forward to tomorrow, so wish me well with tomorrow with the city meeting. That's an important one to get that next to last hurdle with the building. Because then, like I said, if that happens, then I will be absolutely announcing like, hey, so Sunday, come down starting at 1 o'clock, and I will tour you through the building, and you can start to think, I want this, I want that. Great. Bring a checkbook, bring a credit card, bring cash. No, I won't take checks. I don't trust you. Sorry. No, that's not going to happen. I will take cash and credit cards, or Venmo. I'll take cash, credit cards, and like Apple Pay and Venmo. I can do all those things, and I'll sell crap. I've got stuff. And if you say, I really want a piece of the bar, I will freaking chainsaw the bar for you. I don't care. I need a table, take a table. I want a chair, take a chair. I really want this gold record. Well, that's going to be expensive. That's Lenny Kravitz. That's going to be, what do I have it listed for? Well, I'll make you a discount of $100 off of it. But that's going to be expensive because those are gold records, and those are the real memorabilia. That's the real deal stuff. So anyway, I'm going to go because I'm tired. Man, I'm tired. 14-hour day went long. It was a boring 14 hours, though, too. Basically, I just had to sort of supervise this crew. I did some of my own work, but I had to supervise this crew that was doing a great job. These guys really, really worked their asses off. It's amazing to watch. Just watch anybody that can do stuff like that. I mean, that's how I did. I watched and I learned. And I did learn a couple things today, roofing things, which was interesting. I didn't know how they tied themselves off because they had ropes. But I was like, I didn't hear them do anything. But I figured out very quickly what they did was the ridge vent, the very top of the roof, where the joists meet together, there's a beam that's in between like this. When they tore the top of the roof off. So the first thing they did was exposed the joists. So they put the rope through the ridge, through the beams, and lashed it to that. Then they had a support rope. I was like, oh, I always wondered, I was like, well, how would you do that? Did they have it like somebody on their side? What would they tie it off to? They tied it off to the roof itself because the beams are going to, the beams are going like this with a thing in the middle. But when they tore the roof off, there's usually an open spot there because you have to have it vented a little bit. So you can easily get the ropes around that. And that's how they secured themselves. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Learn something new. That's how they secure yourselves. Obviously, you can't do it when the roof is finished. But it was the last thing they did. The last thing they did was they put the ridge vent on. And then the roof being new, it had a lot more traction on it instead of like the other one was all smooth and slippery. And they used the rope to hold some on the other side. They threw it over so they could kind of belay them down if they needed to. But to sort of be able to be up there like that, that's how they did. And I was like, interesting. It's like, that's how you do it. So just one of those little things to note. Anyway, I'm going to let you all go. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. I'm looking forward to telling you tomorrow that the building and zoning meeting went great, that they rubber stamped it, and I can move forward with that. And the week will wind down. It's supposed to be 70 and 50 tomorrow, so we went from 90 to 70, 50. I'm okay with that. I was getting a little sweaty and steamy and hot and, way too much sun exposure, vitamin D. Good. Anyway, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Tuesday, and I will look forward to you tomorrow. Maybe I'll get this Venmo thing figured out. Maybe I'll get the PayPal thing figured out. I don't know. I'm trying my best. I really am. That's all I can do. Thank you. Have a great, great night. Do great things, and remember, tie your shoelaces. Fade to black. Wait. I unfaded it to black again. Don't ask. I'm just going to push the button and it's going to go away. Me and my fat fingers.